All right, good afternoon, everyone. Well, again, it was a kind of impactful sharing that shared my colleagues earlier, so I hope that it actually keeps everyone enjoyed at the moment. And I like to keep it short and simple. Again, it's a late afternoon. All right, again, well, it's my pleasure to be here today to share about what all scenario data protection can safeguard financial data centers. I would like to share some of the innovative solutions and products from Huawei. All right. Okay, so the proliferations of the social media today actually drive the changes of lifestyle today. And we see that more and more people are getting connected today, and that is also one of the driving factors driving the digital transformation journey for the banks today. So as you can see from the slides, right? All right. So from the traditional finance, okay, we are moving into a mobile finance, and eventually moving into all scenario finance, and now it's ubiquitous finance. So the changes of the lifestyle driving the digital transformation of the banks today, and that also leads to one of the phenomena that we're looking into, the tremendous increase of the data we need to process, we need to store, and we need to protect. All right, that's become an imminent challenge today because that brings changes to the service models, the decision models, the business scenarios, as well as the business model. All right, so with the changes of the lifestyle, with the proliferation of the social media, and with the tremendous growth of the data that we foresee to come, and not forgetting the traditional challenges that we see along the way since the histories back, for example, natural disasters, viruses, software and hardware failures, and human errors inevitably become amplified too. Global climate changes, okay, are bringing more natural disasters, all right? And, well, hackers are never fail, so they come out with more viruses, especially my colleague Wanri earlier has shared about the more imminent attacks are being observed on the ransomware. And then, of course, okay, not forgetting software and hardware failure and human errors inevitably unavoidable. So all these are become one of the main challenges to can we actually keep our data intact, protected, and preserving the integrity. So next one, all right, so let's take a look at one pretty shocking statistics about ransomware damages. So if you can see from the slides, right, the largest extortion sum to date that we ever encountered in ransomware attack, $70 million. Shocking, all right? And as you can see that there are more of the statistics shown on the slides, for example, right, an average of 16 business days for system downtime. Imagine in the banks today, with more and more kind of new offerings in the digital transformation journey, especially digital finance offerings that you're offering to all your consumers, your customers, even a day of the downtime is intolerable. What's more, you are taking 16 days to even recover your business, right? So, and of course, right, if you take one more statistic shown there, average total cost of recovery for a single ransomware attack is averaged out, okay, to 1.85 million. Not forgetting the time that you need to recover the business. So it is, in fact, a shocking statistics, and of course, none of us want to be part of these statistics. All right, so what Huawei has to offer here is by realizing the change, the trends in how banks embark in the digital transformation journey, as well as the challenges and the risks that we are facing, and after evaluating the statistics, what are the impacts that will bring about to the bank business. So we look into the all scenario data protection that attempt to safeguard the financial data centers. For example, from the infrastructure perspective, we know that, okay, in keeping the data intact is most important. Traditionally, we have production data centers, we have DR centers. But in Huawei, we take this a step further. If you look at the slides, right, yes, you will have the local production data centers, and then you have intra-city data centers that still conform to that setup of a production and DR. But we even look into having another setup, another design for remote DR centers. If you can see that, right, while you're keeping a local backup within your local production data centers, yes, we keep a 2 copy of it, 1 layer protection. Then we replicate the data over to the DR, right? You keep another copy of that. So now, and if you know that the data are really, really important, then we actually suggested that probably another copy to the remote DR centers. So you're actually keeping a different copies to alleviate the level of protection towards your data. And with that in mind, right, okay, let's just focus back on the production and the DR. Right. In this kind of formation, right, we actually advocate an active data center solution to ensure zero service disruption. So if you can see from the slides, right, between the SAN or the nest in your production data centers, the first layer of the replications are actually put in place, right? Those data are being replicated from production towards the DR side. That's number one. If you look at number two at the bottom, that actually shows that there's another layer kind of technologies or kind of features they put in place to enforce the performance or reinforce the performance in protecting the data. In this case, the fast write protocol actually optimized and improved the performance by 25%. Yes, we replicate the data, but we want to improve the performance eventually in even writing and protecting the data. And the third one, of course, maintaining the active load balancing and nearby resources access. And not forgetting, right, while we're replicating the data, we want to make sure those data are being replicated fast, okay, in high performance. As such, right, in the solution that we provide, just like, okay, what we have shared earlier, my colleagues as well, we actually came out with a gateway-free active solutions. As opposed to most of our competitors' products or solutions, right, they need to have a gateway in between two sites, and that actually creates another hop for those data before it being replicated across to the other sites. So, and the fifth one I'd like to bring your attention will be the latest innovations that Huawei brought into the entire data protection scenario, which is the storage optical connection coordinations. Now, I'd like to bring that into the next slide, give you a little bit more insight on that. All right, so as we know that the connectivity is set up between two data centers, between production and the DR centers, right, you have the connectivities. Conventionally, right, there will be different type of connections that can be set up. But in banks scenario, right, we notice that most of the time the connectivities are set up are using optical fiber connection. In this case, we call it DWDM, dense wavelength, okay, division multiplexing. So this is a technology utilizes on the spectrum within the optic to transmit the data. Now, meaning that, put it very simple, in this particular line, you have a different spectrum within that particular optical fiber connectivities. So each spectrum representing one of the channel you're transmitting the data across. Now the question here is, now, no matter how we actually putting the data protected in one side and another side, we need also to look into preserving the integrity of the data, ensuring that during the transport, if anything's happened, that particular kind of data transmission can be recovered fast. So in this case, right, in this SOCC solution, right, so what Huawei envisages is to enforce a particular high-speed checking. In this case, we call it the arbitration of finding out whether the particular spectrum is actually active or having some issues. So in this particular arbitration, conventionally, it might take up to maybe minutes. But within the SOCCs, right, we improvise the kind of arbitration. In this case, if you look at the benefits shown here, the link switch over within seconds doesn't interrupt the services. So the arbitration that we look into is actually 70% faster as compared to the conventional method. So once the arbitration actually dictates one of the particular spectrum or the channel actually having some issue, it actually will switch over to the next available spectrum and preserving the I/O. In this case, switching over, we also improvise that, okay, comparing to the conventional way, it is 90% faster. And most importantly, by enforcing the intelligence and also the Huawei device machine learning algorithm into these particular solutions, it actually helps to put up, okay, a quick fault demarcation between the storage up to the optical devices connecting to the DWDM. All right, so in this case, with this SOCC solution, we are attempting to guarantee zero financial transaction failures in between two sites. And of course, right, that is from the between two sites, one of the solutions that we put up. Now, not forgetting that, okay, the fundamental infrastructures that we're actually supporting the backup as well, right? So in this case, Ocean Protect is an enterprise-class benchmark backup storage. As we know that backup forms one of the part of the DR solution. So in this backup storage, we are focused on three main factors. Number one, rapid backup and rapid recovery. Now, you know in the conventional O&M, one of the key challenges in most of the IT operation team today is can I have a shorter backup windows? Now think about what I mentioned just now, that with the proliferation of social media and in introduction of a new digital finance offering to your customers, you probably foresee there will be a tremendous increase in growth in the data. Now that actually adds on more stress to how can I actually keep those data backup within a controllable time frame. So keeping the backup window as short as possible is always what everyone or what are every IT operation team trying to achieve. And in this case, the Ocean Protect backup storage here, we build it on top of our Dorado technologies, right? Leverage on the rapid performance features, right? It helps to enforce the rapid backup. And of course, in the event of the disasters, if let's say in the event of data loss, all right, to most of the business services in the banks, you always envisage and what required a good RTO and RPO. In this case, we're looking for RTO perspective. We wanted to make sure that those data can be recovered, can be restored fast as well. So in this case, okay, Ocean Protect backup storage not only enforcing fast backup, but it also tries to advocate fast recovery as well. So now that is on the backup and recovery portion. Now, in addition to that, right, as I mentioned just now, when data grows, you need to make sure that to find out an effective way to keep those data in place. And of course, we do not really want to keep expanding the storage indefinitely, seeing that how can we find a more effective solution to store those backup data. So we have the effective data compression, all right, and a deduplication kind of algorithm helps to compress the data to a 72:1 ratio. So this is actually the maximum ratio that we can achieve to help to compress the data, and it helps to save the space required within the storage to store those backup data. And finally, high reliabilities, and with the Ocean Protect backup storage, it actually works hands in hand, okay, with most of the predominant market backup software vendors, which enforces the anti-ransomware features. So with this in mind, right, okay, it actually enforces the end-to-end data protection. So I'd like to bring to the next slides where in addressing the ransomware protection storage solutions, right, Ocean Store Dorado and Ocean Protect works together, defense against a ransomware attack. As my colleague Wanri has shared earlier, that in Ocean Store Dorado, we actually put in a certain algorithms inside there to detect the patterns of the data access. So in this case, if you look at the slides here, right, on the production area where Ocean Store Dorado are mainly being used. So in this case, right, there are some pre-configured blocking library, right, to block the known ransomware attacks. That is the algorithm that we built into to detect the ransomware attack. All right. And of course, we have the second level secure snapshots that is helped to fend off in case that particular ransomware attack can be intercepted, okay, at one level before it actually moves to the next one. And of course, right, for the backup area, that is where the Ocean Protect comes into play. In this case, the secure snapshots and the worm stands for write once, read many, and immutable features that prevent the further changes that is on the data that is affected by the ransomware, helps to protect the data further, right? And of course, finally, right, third, which is the last level, being the last bastion, the isolation area. So that is the last place where we implement the air gap technologies to actually control the access of the data in between different areas or different sites. So in this case, either Ocean Store Dorado or Ocean Protect can be the other additional storage area to keep the last copy of the backup data. All right. So in between, there are a few levels you need to go through before the ransomware can reach the last stage. Okay, so before I actually coming to the end of my presentations, okay, this is one of the last Chinese bank in China recently that they actually employs Huawei Ocean Protect as the backup storage as for the solution. They have been actually experiencing a lot of a challenge with the conventional, traditional tape libraries using VTL tape libraries and so on. And to them, they find it that they wanted to make do away of the tapes, and they wanted to enforce a faster backup, okay, faster recovery, and they actually chosen Huawei Ocean Protect as the solution to actually revolutionize, I would say to modernize the current backup infrastructures. All right? So before I end my presentations, I'd just like to conclude that Huawei Ocean Protect backup storage provides rapid backup, rapid recovery effective data compressions, and high reliability, forming the solid foundation as a part of all scenario data protection to secure financial data center. Thank you very much.